Hello everyone, Catweazle here, welcome to the channel and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the living card game Night of the Zealot, and we're now on episode 5 and we're just about to start turn 8 I believe. Where is everyone? Well, at last Roland has managed to get into his own cellar. And we have Wendy, who is still in the hallway. We still have one outstanding monster on the board. We've got a ghoul minion up here in the attic. And if you remember, we've still got a barrier between the rest of the house and the parlour, which is here. Well, we've got 4 clues in the cellar, and we've got to get rid of this weakness of cover-up, which is currently holding our investigator Roland back a little. So we'll have to see if we can sort that out this episode. That said, let's get on with turn 8 and the Mythos Phase. And here we are at the Mythos Phase. So first of all, we go up to 5 doom on the agenda. It is 7, so we don't have to flip it. So after that, it's just picking up our old friends, the encounter cards. So let's see what Roland gets, and he gets a ghoul minion. So it is 2 combat, 2 health, and 2 to evade. Humanoid monster ghoul. Read Pickman's model several times, so I won't bother again. And it can do 1 health damage and 1 horror damage, and it is an enemy. It will spawn in the cellar, which means it will automatically engage Roland. So that is his card, and the card for Wendy is... oh, she gets Rotting Remains, Treachery, Terror, Revelation, Test, Willpower, 3. For each point you fail by, take 1 horror. A sickening display of gore causes you to retch. You're glad this wasn't you. Right, so we'll sort that out now. Put it in her threat area. Her willpower is 4, so that's +1. Are we going to chuck anything at it? Does anything help? No, we have got a redraw though, so let's see. We need a -1 or better, and we get a +1. Woo! Easy, easy. So we have done that, and I'll put this here. One thing I did last turn, I think we got, was it Crypt Chill? And I put it in here, her discard pile. It should of course gone in there. I did spot that, so... Crypt Chill did go into the correct discard eventually, but I did it off camera in between episodes. Okay, so she's got rid of that. That is the end of the Mythos Phase. Let's move into the Investigation Phase. And here we are at the Investigation Phase. Well, I think Roland's going to go first, and he's got an opportunity to get a clue virtually straight off because of this ghoul minion. So it is 2 combat, and I think we're gonna have to fire at it, aren't we, again, because we need to get 2 damage on it. If we just attacked it, we'd only get 1 damage on it, so we are gonna have to use the automatic, and we're running out of ammo, unfortunately. So let's spend an ammo. So that's +1 combat. We get +1 for the beat cop. 4, that's 6. So it's a -4 or better. And we get... He's missed. He's missed, and there's no way to redraw, I don't think. There isn't, so that's his first action wasted, and an ammo wasted, and we've got to use the second ammo. So there we go, and it's exactly the same. And the Elder Sign, yes, we get +4, so that's easy. Why didn't we get that first? So that was a second action. We did kill the ghoul minion, and instead of taking a clue as per his special ability off the cellar, we'll take it off cover up and discard ghoul minion. Well, that was awful. I was hoping to retain at least one ammunition. So, what to do now? He doesn't have a weapon now. The 45 automatic is virtually useless. So, I suppose we could discard it as an agility icon. That is a real pain. I'll just have to have a think, won't be a second. Okay, I'm back. What I'm going to do then is he is actually going to equip the machete, but because it's a handed weapon, that means we're going to discard the 45. So we'll discard that, and that costs 3. So there we go, it's down to 4 resources. And that is his final action. Yeah, I just went away. I just wanted to make sure that I could discard at the same time. And that's what happens. It happens simultaneously. If you're putting something into your hand and getting rid of something else, it happens at the same time. So that's fine. It wasn't a 2 action, 1 to discard and 1 to equip. So we're fine. So that is it for Roland Banks. Let's have a look at Wendy. So what's Wendy going to do? Well, first of all, her first action, she's going to move. So, hello Roland. And they are now both in the cellar. For her second action, well, she may as well investigate, I think. So we're going to do a normal investigation. Now, shroud value is 4, so I think she is going to use her flashlight to investigate. So that puts the shroud down to 2. Her intellect is 3, so we need a -1 or better at the moment. Is there anything else she can lose? Got to remember about lucky. And we've got to remember about, look what I found. So if we fail a skill test by 2 or less, we can discover 2 clues anyway. Cool. Right, so her intellect is 3 and we're against the shroud of 2, so we need a -1 or better. And we get a 0. That's fantastic. So we didn't fail. So she picks up a clue, so that's 5. Remember, we only need 6, but we do want to discard this clue here for Roland. So that was good. Third action, we'll do exactly the same. So flashlight is now exhausted. Well, not exhausted, let's use the proper term. It has no supplies left on it. So the torch is going out, and it's exactly the same. And we get a -2, which is a miss, isn't it? But let's have a look at this. Look what I found. Fast. Play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less while investigating. So we're going to play this. That's going to cost us 2. Discard it, and that means we can pick up 2 clues. So we've now got 7 clues. So we do have enough clues, and we'll keep that clue there. For her final clue, well, we may as well put something in her hand, like the baseball bat. So we'll do exactly the same as we just did with Roland. We'll put something into her hand, in this case the baseball bat, which will cost 2. And flashlight is used up, so it can be discarded. Excellent. So that is it for the investigation phase. Next up is the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase. As before, we've only got the ghoul up in the attic. It isn't a hunter, so nothing happens. Next up will be the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. So first things first is a resource for Roland, and then he picks a card. Yeah, because we're not... Oh, God. Do it in the right order. So all these go back. All the actions are refreshed. Duh. All the actions are refreshed. No cards to be refreshed. He got his resource. Now he can pick up a card. And he gets emergency cash. So he's got loads of emergency cash. That's 8, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that is fine. Right, so that is that. Wendy next. She's back up to 2, and she gets to pick a card, which is... Oh, she gets guts. 2 extra willpower. Cool. In 8, max 1 committed per skill test. If this test is successful, draw another card. Stay back, I'll handle this. So that's pretty good as well. But we could have done with something like sneak attack. And we could do with some overpowers or something here. Yes. So that's it for the upkeep phase. I think we're going to have to stay here for a little bit longer. The reason being is we want to get rid of cover up before we flick the act over. So that is it for turn 8. And let's move on to turn 9 and the Mythos phase. And here we are at turn 9, and it's the Mythos phase. So first of all, Doom token, we're up to 6. We're getting close to flipping that agenda over, but not quite yet. So it is now encounter card time. Let's see what Roland gets. Obscuring fog. Oh, not the time to get obscuring fog, man. Attached to your location. Limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 shroud. So that puts it up to +6. Forced. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard obscuring fog. That is a nightmare. Because he can't investigate now for this clue in order to get rid of it on there. We're going to have to hope for a... Yeah, to be able to use his special ability. We need a monster or something. So anyway, it is now Wendy's turn, and we get Ancient Evils. Revelation. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Dark forces stir against you. If you do not act quickly, a sinister plot will be fulfilled. This is atrocious, because that puts the 7th Doom on here. And it does indeed move the agenda on. Yeah, knock everything over. And Rise of the Ghouls was our agenda, was it not? Oh, I may as well keep that one because we'll be reading it shortly. So Rise of the Ghouls has moved on. The tunnels below. A feral beast, roughly humanoid with a canine cast and hooves for feet, tears through the ground in front of you. Below the floor you can see vast tunnels beneath your house. Fiendish howling echoes from deep within the underground caverns. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. The lead investigator draws that enemy. Oh, but at least it means we've got a possibility of being able to get that clue and get rid of cover up. So in a way, it's not as bad as it might have been. Right, so that's that. Let's just do the stuff. So that's the discard. This is the encounter pile. So now we just shuffle them all together. We keep going through until we get to our first ghoul. There we go, let's do a cut. So, grasping hands is discarded. Oh, not that bloody icy ghoul. Oh, right. Actually, should the icy ghoul be in there? If it's a victory point, do you take it out and it doesn't go in the discard? I'm just going to have to check that. Foo, we got away with that. Goes into the victory display, so it doesn't go in the discard, so it doesn't get shuffled back in. So this should be up there in the victory display. There's probably another one that I need to put in there, but let's carry on going through. Ancient Evils gets discarded. Crypt Chill gets discarded. Dissonant Voices gets discarded. Frozen in Fear gets discarded. Another Dissonant Voices gets discarded. Rotting Remains gets discarded. Bloody hell, come on. Well, we're getting rid of a ghoul minion. That's what we want. So, we got a bit fortunate there. But, oh, these remain as a discard pile. So let's put them there. So yes, we got a bit lucky there. There was a victory point. It goes into a victory point pile on its own. So that was lucky. So we've now finished the tunnels below. We can discard that. And put it up there with the previous agenda. But now we're on our final agenda, so we're going to have to get a move on. Agenda 3A, they're getting out. You hear a crazed howl outside, and suddenly all the creatures turn their attention to that sound. They rush to escape the house, breaking down doors and clawing at everything in their way. Forced. At the end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul enemy moves one location towards the parlour. So we've got one here and one down there. Forced as well. At the end of the round, place one doom on this agenda for each ghoul enemy in the hallway or parlour. So even though it's got 10 on, we're really going to race through. We're going to have to hurry now. So we'll put that there. Oh, what a horrible Mythos phase that was. But at least we got a little bit lucky, because Obscuring Fog was horrendous, but we have got a ghoul minion. Right, so that is the end of the Mythos phase. Let's move on to the investigation phase. And here we are at the investigation phase. So it's going to be Roland to go first, and he is going to attack this ghoul minion. So it's 2 to combat it. He's going to use the machete. So let's have a look at this. Fight. Yep. +1 combat for the attack. So we've got the beat cop, so that's +2. Goes up to 6 with his 4 combat. If the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, this deals +1 damage. That's what we need. So it's 6 against 2. It's +4. So anything better than a -4 token is funky. Elder Sign, that's brilliant. That's equal to a +1. He kills it. And special ability applies. He's not going to pick up the clue though. He's going to take this one. Boom. So he gets rid of that. Now what I'm thinking is, do we kick the act over? We've got to think now, because we can do it now. We have got 7 clues. So we could pretty much take the act. Oh, cover up goes. Let's discard that. So we don't have to worry about that. I don't think we're going to get the victory point for down here. So, because, you know, I think we're going to struggle to get that final clue. So let's forget about that. Let's get the hell out. What are we going to do? Let's crack on with it. So we are going to spend 6 clues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's get rid of those. Let's march the act on. So yeah, we've spent the 6 clues. No, we can't because we're not in the hallway. So for his second action, he's going to move to the hallway. Then we're going to spend the 6 clues. So we're spending the 6 clues on his second, after his second action to move into the hallway. When the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. Oh no, it's when it ends. Right. When the round ends. So I think that's everybody, isn't it? So we've moved him into the hallway anyway. He's got 1 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got to do something with his final action. I better bring all these clues back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's all the clues back. We haven't triggered it yet. His final action. What's he going to do? Well, I think we're coming towards now the actual fighting. So I think he's going to play first aid. So that's 2. So he's going to put that into play. First aid. Right, so that is his go. Next, we have Wendy. So we've got to wait till the end of the round. So that's after Wendy's go, I think. Let me just check. Yes, good job I checked. I think it's talking about the game round. The game round's at the end of the upkeep phase. So that's when we'll have to do it. So, anyway, back to Wendy. She's got 4 actions. What's she going to do? Well, I don't think there's any reason for her to stay in the cellar. So she can come out as well. So she's come out of the cellar. And this is going to move in the enemy phase. I'm just wondering whether she should go up there and perhaps try and kill it. It's only a ghoul minion and she's got the baseball bat. Yes, that's what she's going to do. So she's going to move again. Back into the attic. She's going to lose another sanity. I think you lose a sanity again for going in. And this is obviously going to engage her. But she has the baseball bat and the derringer at the moment. So she is going to attack, fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. So that puts her up to 3 combat. And the attack will deal +1 damage. Okay. So that is what we're going to do. Are we going to throw anything at it? I don't think so. So it's 3 against 2. So we need a -1 or better. We've got lucky. And we get a -3. Let's just check lucky. Fast. Play when you would fail a skill test. Get +2 to your skill value for that test. We'll play lucky. So that puts it to a -1. A -1 is what we needed. We have killed that ghoul. That is excellent. So that was her 3rd action. And for her 4th action, I think she may as well come back. So there you go, she just nipped up to the attic from the cellar just to kill that ghoul because she had a baseball bat. She just turned around to Roland and said, just got something to take care of. And now she has done it. So that's brilliant. So that is the end of the investigation phase. Next up is the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase, and we haven't got any. Woo! So that's brilliant, but just let's check this forced. The end of the enemy phase, each unengaged ghoul. Oh, so even if it had remained engaged, it wouldn't have moved. So that's fine. Yep, we've got rid of the ghouls, and that also helps with this final one. So that's okay. The enemy phase is finished. And let's move on to the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. So first of all, let's refresh all these in order this time. So everybody gets their actions back. Unexhausted cards, exhausted cards, there aren't any that need refreshing, so it's back to getting a resource and a card. A resource for Roland, and his card is Dynamite. Cool. Choose either your location or a connecting location. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and to each investigator at the chosen location. Woo! Costs 5. We do have 4, so we may be able to do something with Dynamite. Excellent. Right, what is next? What's next? It is Wendy. So she gets a resource and a card. And her card is Dig Deep. Cost 2, it's an asset. Willpower icon and agility icon. That's right, you fight them off, kid. Talent. So it's a freebie. Spend 1 resource, you get +1 willpower for this test. Or you can spend 1 resource to get +1 agility for this test. May come in useful. So let's put that down there. And that is the end of the upkeep phase and the end of the round. Which means we can now spend these 6 at last, and we can move on with this act. When the round ends, it's ended. Investigators in the hallway, we're both in the hallway, as a group may spend the requisite number of clues to advance. We have done so. Let's flip it over. Breaking the barrier. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking passage into the parlour has vanished. Reveal the parlour. Oh, it actually tells us to reveal the parlour. So this is the parlour. Let's have a look at it. On its unrevealed side, the entrance to the parlour is blocked by a darkly glowing, unfathomable barrier. You cannot move into the parlour. You're unsure what would happen if you tried to cross the threshold of the strange barrier, but based on its extreme heat, you sure as hell don't want to try. Right, well, it's been revealed now. Shroud value of 2. It's got no clues though. So as an action you can resign. This is too much for me. You run out the front door fleeing in panic. Nice one. While Lita Chandler is not controlled by a player, she gains, as an action, parley, test, intellect, 4. If you succeed, take control of Lita Chandler. Alright, so for an action, you can have a chat with her and try and get this Lita Chandler on your side. Doubtless, when we read through the rest of this card, we shall find out more about her. But it did say to reveal it. So we've revealed the parlour. Put the set-aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlour. Here she is, let's have a look at her. So she's got a cost of 0. She's an asset. Lita Chandler, the Zealot. Ally. While you control Lita Chandler, she gains. Each investigator at your location gains +1 combat. As a reaction, when an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, that investigator deals +1 damage. So she helps out with being a 3 damage soak and a 3 horror soak. That's good. But obviously you have to get rid of other allies should you wish to have her on your side. So that's Lita Chandler. Chandler, sorry. Let's put her there. Carry on reading the card. Spawn the set-aside ghoul priest in the hallway. So he's right on top of us. So that dynamite might not be as good an idea after all. Though I suppose we can move away, can't we, and chuck it. Right, the ghoul priest. So here is the ghoul priest. Combat of 4. Yeah, he's like the icy ghoul. He's nasty. 4 to evade. And as you can see here, he's got 5 hit points, but we've got that little investigator symbol. So it is 5 times 2, because we've got 2 investigators. That is 10 hit points. Humanoid monster, ghoul, elite. Prey, highest combat. So he's going to prey on Roland. He's a hunter, and he can retaliate. Hunter, we've briefly discussed that before, he will follow you around. What retaliate means if you attack him and miss, he gets an attack. So other ghouls, other non-elites, you know, you attack them and you miss, that's just it, you just missed. But with this guy, he will get a retaliation in. A figure in red robes wearing a bone mask. It gibbers and snarls before leaping to attack. You get 2 victory points to kill it. It does 2 health damage, and it does 2 horror damage. Nasty. So that would come. I do apologise. I do apologise about that. And yes, that would attack. That will come here, but it's obviously going to engage with Roland. Yes, sorry about that. The I'll leave the actual camera. It's still attached to the power cord, and the power cord slipped. So apologies for that. Right, so that has got to there. That is the end of this card. I think we can discard it. And let's move on to the last act. Act 3A, What Have You Done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlour, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What are you doing in my parlour? What have you done to my barrier? What are you doing in my parlour? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing toward you. Objective, if the ghoul priest is defeated, then advance. So all we've got to do is defeat the ghoul priest. Brilliant. So there we go. That is the end of the upkeep phase. How exciting was that? Even with, like, knocking the camera about everywhere and everything. So there we are. That is the end of the turn, and I think we'll leave it there suitably on this cliffhanger. The ghoul priest has arrived. Lita Chandler is like wandering around in the house without permission. Things are going off. So what we're going to have to do is try and get 10 hit points onto this monster. We do have dynamite, and I think, yeah, I've got an idea of what we might try and do, and it basically involves evading the ghoul priest, getting into the parlour, and throwing some dynamite into our hallway. So that might be fun next turn. We shall see how it goes. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the likes, thanks for all the subscriptions, and thank you for all the views. As always, for all the help and tips and strategy, thanks very much for that as well. That's been great and it's been really helpful. If you've spotted me making a balls up, which is all too common, I'm afraid, I may have messed up. I've had to go to the rules reference a couple of times during the game just to sort some things out. I think I've got that right. I think that icy ghoul does go into the victory pile, so it wouldn't get shuffled back in. So I think I played that right, which worked in our favour, thankfully. So that was pretty cool. And I think, yeah, anything else that you've noticed, then please let me know and I will try and fix it. I think I got it right on when we triggered the act. It did say at the end of the round, so I think it meant the game round, which is after the upkeep phase, so I think we got that right as well. But there may have been other things that I've missed, so if you have noticed them, please let me know. So that is it for episode 5 of Arkham Horror, the card game, Night of the Zealot. I hope you join me for episode 6, which will probably be the finale of this particular scenario, The Gathering. But until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.